How's it going, everybody? My name is LucianDev. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how to set up and install Rust dedicated server so you can have your own Rust server. Alright, so first thing what we're going to want to do is we're going to need steamcmd. Simply Google steamcmd here. Click on this first link. I'm on Windows, and we're going to do where it says download steamcmd with this little one. Just going to click on that little one right there and download it. Boom. Alright, so we can go ahead and minus that out. We're going to go back to that later. Alright, so download steamcmd. We're going to extract the files. Just hit OK. Alright, now we got it. I am going to cut this, so right click, hit cut. I'm going to go here, back to my C drive. We'll create a new folder. We'll call it servers with an S. Alright, then in here, I'm going to right click and hit paste. Alright, now real quick before I do anything else, I'm going to create a new folder. We're just going to call this Rust. Do it lowercase, keep everything kind of uniform here. Alright, so let's go ahead and install steamcmd. Perfect. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and do the fun part. So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to go to our folder here, click on Rust. I'm just going to copy this little line right here. I'm going to do force _install directory, or dir, and then just copy, paste that line, and hit enter. Then we're going to do login anonymous, enter, let that connect. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and download and install all the files necessary. So we're going to do app _update, and then the app ID for Rust is 258550, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in validate at the end of that and hit enter. And that's going to go ahead and download all the necessary files that we need for our Rust server. We're going to go ahead and hit allow access on that real quick, get that out of the way. We're going to wait for this to finish up. Alright, now that that's complete, we're going to go ahead and exit this because we are no longer in need of it. Alright, and now as you can see here, we have all the files. Next step, if you want a vanilla server without mods or plugins, you can skip the next step, but in this step, before I continue, I'm going to go ahead and do mods, plugins. I feel like that's what most people kind of do anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and show that. Alright, so what we're going to want to do, we're going to go to umod.org/game/rust. And we're going to download this file right here. Once that's done, we're going to minus this. We're going to go to our downloads, right click on that, extract files, okay. Then we're going to cut this and then paste it into our Rust folder here. Just paste it right in here. We're going to replace the current files. Boom. Alright, next thing we need to do is set up a batch script. And what we're going to do for that, we're going to create a new text document here. We'll call it server start. Click that, hit .bat, and then hit yes on that. If you don't have the extensions, like .bat.exe, if those aren't showing for you, go to view. On the right hand side, you see file name extension. Oops. Just make sure that is ticked. It goes away when I click on it, but make sure it's ticked, and you'll see the extensions. Alright, so after that, we're going to right click, we're going to hit edit. Then I'm going to paste some lines in here just because it's easier for me than typing out all the lines. It's just easier if I just copy paste it. And then I'll post the code down in the description below for everybody. So, real quick, what this does is, we're going to get rid of this little bit right here. It's just called Rust in our case. Alright, so what this does, this is going to run an update first. So every time you start the server, it's going to check for an update. If there is no update, then it skips it. If there is an update for it, then it will go ahead and update the server every time you start it. So then we have all the necessary parameters that we're going to need. So your host name, which is going to be the name of the server. In my case, it's called BloodDev Rust. The description, server URL, header image, all that stuff, ports, everything. So that's all that. Go to start, blah, blah, blah. All right, so once that's in, you're going to save it. Change all your file. If you want a 70-man server or something, max player 70, stuff like that, your seed and all that stuff. So change whatever you want to change in here, and then go ahead and save it. Once you save it, you can close it out. And then we're going to go ahead and start the server now real quick because we want the Oxide that we just put in to load, and that's going to throw in some more files for us in here so we can do some plugins. So I'm going to go ahead and start the server and let that fully boot up. Alright, now that the server is fully booted up, we are going to go ahead and close it because we're going to do a mod here. That's just popping up because the ports aren't forwarded, but we're going to get to that here in a minute. So let's go ahead and just close this thing down. Alright, so as you can see here, we have some new folders. We do Oxide and plugins. This is where we're going to store all the plugins that we want. So I'm just going to do one plugin for the sake of this video. I'm going to do Rust. Let's do most downloaded. Gather Manager. We're going to download that. CS file. We're going to do downloads. We're going to cut that. Go back to the plugins here and paste it. And that's that. The next time we start the server, we'll have the plugin Gather Manager up and running. So in order to get other people to play on the server with you, you will need to port forward. Port forwarding through your router is not something that I go over in the videos just because every router is different and it's kind of hard to help everyone do that when everyone has different routers. So recommend just looking up your specific router and looking up how to port forward with it. 9 times out of 10 there will be a tutorial for it. But right now I'm going to show you how to open the ports through your firewall, which you will need to do in order to be able to play along with port forwarding as well. So we're going to hit the start menu here. We're going to type in firewall, and we're just going to click on that one. And we're going to go to inbound rules, create a new rule. All right. So if you want to use Archon, which I highly recommend, it's what I use to bench the server without having to log into the back end. There's 2 ports that you're going to want to open. So new rule, we're going to do ports. Hit next, do TCP, and we're going to do 28.0.15 to 28.0.16. I'm just going to highlight all that, Control-C it to copy it, because we're going to do the same thing, but for UDP instead on the next step. So we're hit next, leave this as default, leave that as default. We'll name it Rust Server TCP and hit finish. Then we're going to create another new rule, port again, next. We're going to switch this over to UDP, and we're just going to paste the same ports in there. Hit next, I'll leave that as default, leave that as default. We'll call this Rust Server UDP, and hit finish. And that is it. So your firewall is now open. All you have to do is port forward via your router, and you are good to go. So go ahead and install all the plugins that you wish to have on the server. Once you actually run the plugin or run the server start with plugins installed, you'll get a bunch of config files as well. So if you want to change the default configs, turn off the server, come in here, change the configs, restart the server. And that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next one.